Throughout history, music has always held a powerful place in human society, evolving from a rare and special cultural expression into something that is almost inseparable from daily life. In the earliest days of humanity, music wasn't a form of casual entertainment. It was sacred, ritualistic, and often limited to specific occasions such as spiritual ceremonies, community gatherings, or royal events. In ancient civilizations like Mesopotamia, Egypt, Greece, and China, music was often performed with simple instruments like harps, flutes, and drums, and it carried deep symbolic meanings. Around 500 BCE in ancient Greece, philosophers like Plato and Aristotle even discussed music's effects on the soul and society, seeing it as a tool that could shape character, but also something dangerous if misused. During the medieval era, around the 5th to 15th centuries, music was mostly tied to religious institutions. Gregorian chants were sung in churches, and music was considered something sacred and exceptional, not something to be consumed constantly. As time progressed through the Renaissance, 15th to 17th centuries, and Baroque eras, 17th to 18th centuries, music slowly expanded beyond religious settings into courts and theaters. It became more structured, artistic, and emotional, influencing people on a deeper psychological level. By the 18th and 19th centuries, the classical and romantic periods, music had transformed into a form of personal expression. Composers like Mozart, Beethoven, and Chopin created emotionally charged pieces that could inspire tears, excitement, or nostalgia. But as this happened, music also began to manipulate emotions in powerful ways. It could make people imagine scenarios that didn't exist, build fantasies about love, power, or sadness, and change a person's mental state dramatically, sometimes leading them away from reality into a more fragile, emotional world. What was once an occasional, meaningful ritual slowly became a constant presence. The Industrial Revolution in the 20th century changed everything. With the invention of the phonograph in the late 1800s, followed by radios, vinyl records, cassette tapes, CDs, and eventually digital music streaming, music shifted from being a special event to a continuous background presence in daily life. Modern genres like jazz, 1920s, rock and roll, pop, 1960s onward, hip-hop, 1970s to 1980s, and countless others became global phenomena. By the late 20th and early 21st centuries, music was everywhere in shops, vehicles, advertisements, phones, and social media. What used to be occasional became habitual. And while this might seem positive to some, it also brought subtle psychological consequences. Music can often give false images of life. Romantic songs can idealize unrealistic love, aggressive tracks can glorify violence or negativity, and even upbeat music can create emotional highs that make reality afterward feel dull or unsatisfying. In many cases, people unconsciously let music control their mood, rather than stabilizing it themselves. Moreover, constant exposure to music can numb emotional sensitivity over time. Because music stimulates dopamine and affects the brain's emotional centers, frequent listening can create dependency, making silence uncomfortable and natural emotions harder to manage. A sad song can deepen sadness rather than heal it, and a cheerful song can sometimes make real-life struggles feel more unbearable by comparison. In both cases, the mood can shift in an unnatural way, not because of reality, but because of carefully produced melodies and lyrics. This emotional manipulation isn't always obvious, but over decades, it has shaped how people think, dream, and even behave, sometimes leading to detachment from real emotions and real problems. In conclusion, music has evolved from a rare, sacred tradition into a constant part of modern life, but this change reveals a darker side. As it became more accessible, music started powerfully shaping thoughts and emotions, often in misleading ways, creating false fantasies, altering moods unnaturally, and trapping people in emotional cycles detached from reality. What was once special has become ordinary, and in that shift, its emotional power can sometimes do more harm than good. What do you think?